Welcome back to the GOAT Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, the GOAT. I'm your host, Jim Neander, here with you again on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. It's really not beautiful. It's a little rainy, a little shitty out, but it's Saturday. You know what Saturday means? No, not college football. I don't give a shit about that. It means tomorrow is real football. I'm just fucking around. I live in Atlanta. I live in Georgia, and everybody gets mad at me because I don't like college football. I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. I mean, there's some good games sometimes. It's just, here's the thing. It's like the logic. Unless you went to a school, you graduated from that school. I get it. You have that fandom. You're an alumni, but for me, it's like, oh, the purity of the game, and they play for the love of the game. Well, I don't know then how much high school football you watch, how much Pee Wee League football do you watch. I want to watch football at the highest level, even if that means watching the Jaguars or the Lions or the Jets or the Giants this year. Hey, but that's just me. It's all right. There's enough football for everybody, and we get a bunch of football tomorrow. So listen. We just did the first part of our preview show, so we went through the first half of the games. Going to go through the other half of the games, and it's pretty easy. We talk about the game. We tell you who we like to start, who we like to sit, and a little bit about all those guys, right? Just give you the quick information, give you the shit you want. You don't need all the other stuff, right? It's already Saturday.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
All right, so... well, let's just roll through it here, man. Let's get ready to enjoy our Saturday. All right, so where did we leave off? We did all the 1 o'clock games, so all right, let's go to the afternoon slate and then the night games and such. All right, well, let's hit on that first before we go to the night game. So, as of now, the Denver and New England game has been moved to Monday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's kind of cool. There's not an overlap this week. We'll get to see the full early game and then the full late game. I'm on the East Coast, so not too bad for me, but I definitely understand that for folks on the West Coast, 2 o'clock is some weird shit for watching Monday football. But hey, in this time, you might be working from home. Who knows? You might not be working. Hey, you get an extra football game to relax on Monday and enjoy. Get a little extra food going, all that shit. And then the Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills have been moved to Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And as of right now on Saturday, I think there's been no new tests for the Titans for a couple of days. It does look like the game is going to go on Tuesday. So as of right now, for fantasy advice, you have to have backup options. You have to. And you also have to have an idea of the time frame in mind of when you need to use them by. So, if you're thinking you're playing Bills and Titans, right, and you're willing to wait until Monday to see what they're saying because you want to play your Bills and Titans, well, then you damn well sure better have somebody in these 2 Monday games ready to slot in and guys that you weren't going to already use. And that's the thing. You don't want to sit, starters, you're going to say, oh, well, I'm going to put, somebody, Julian Edelman on my bench just so that I can play A.J. Brown, and then, if A.J. Brown's not playing, I'll put Julian Edelman in. I think you want to look for these other guys in this Monday game if you're thinking about Tuesday, and some of these other guys in the, Sunday night game if you're thinking about the Monday games, right? So as we go through these games, we'll hit on that a little bit and just give you a little primer on some of these guys to look for if you're in a, emergency contingency, bench swapping kind of situation here. So, but we're going to start on the West Coast here with the San Francisco 49ers. Looking to get Jimmy Garoppolo back. They're hosting the Miami Dolphins. And it's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick for at least another week. And listen, I know. I mean, they're 1-3. And Tua may or may not be ready. But, the point is you got other teams with their rookie quarterbacks out there doing their thing, and whether or not they're great or not, which so far Burrow and Herbert have been fantastic. It's they have an idea of what's going on in the future of their franchise right now. It's exciting for their team, exciting for their fan base, and it's going to be hard to keep Tua out of the lineup any longer if they go 1-4, which I do expect them to lose this game on the road in San Fran. So, talk about these Dolphins. Who you want to play? I mean, really, Devontae Parker for me is the only must-play guy, right? He's the only must-start on this Dolphins team this week. Miles Gaskin is a possible starter. It's all about what you have, what you have available to you. He's been a little bit less involved in the last week or so, and Matt Breida seems to be getting a little bit more involved. You still have the goal line carries going to Jordan Howard. All this stuff makes me feel like Gaskin is like a last-ditch PPR kind of a guy. So, as an RB3 or a flex, he's fine. You can put him in there, but I'm not excited about it. Gesicki's been up and down, so it's been kind of hard with Gesicki because you want to play him, you want it to be great, and he had the one big game. But let's look at the targets here the last few games. Really hasn't been great for Mr. Gesicki. 3 targets in each of the last 2 games, the same exact stat line, 1 catch, 15 yards. He did get into the end zone in week 3, so that saved him. But man, it's been pretty bad for Mike Gesicki through 4 weeks, honestly. He had 1 really, really big week. And other than that, he has not been good. You can't be all the way down there. He had 1 big week. That's got to get you. Oh, is he the tight end 12? All right. He still sneaks in as a tight end 1, which is shocking. That's the 1 big week. He's got 190 yards and 2 touchdowns through 4 weeks. And he had 130 and a touchdown in week 2. So, yeah. 3 really bad weeks, or 1 really good week, 1 okay week, and 2 really bad weeks. Doesn't make you feel good. It took me too long to break that shit down. I mean, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, Gesicki was supposed to have this big, target share, and, to everyone that was convinced of that,
You sit on a throne of lies.
that's the truth, you do. All right, so yeah, Devontae Parker, the only must start in this game. San Fran. I'm not starting Jimmy Garoppolo in his first game back. I got to see him back a little bit. They still don't have all their weapons. I mean, Kittle looked amazing last week, but Mostert could still be out. He's still questionable. Let's look at the injury report here one more time. See if there's been any updates here. Yeah, Mostert's a game time decision. Deebo Samuel is listed as a non-COVID related illness, but he did miss practice, and he also is questionable for the game. So, not sure if we're going to have those guys. So with Jimmy G just coming back, against a team they're not going to have to throw that much against, I don't think. I'm going to go ahead and pass on Jimmy G this week. If Mostert is out, yes, you want to have Jerick McKinnon in your lineup. Absolutely. No doubt, want to have McKinnon in your lineup. If Mostert is playing, I'm probably going to sit both of them. And hear me out here, because it's about your expectations and what your needs are. I do think they both can score, 12 points if they're both playing in this game, and that could be okay for you. But I'm not okay with that for me. I need some more points. I need a bigger ceiling. And while yes, it's always possible that 2 49ers running backs can have big games, that can happen any week, and it can definitely happen at home against the Dolphins. I'm just looking at other options. Running back is pretty hard right now, so I'm hoping that Mostert gets another week to rest. I don't want it to be hurt. I want it to be healthy, right? It sucks when guys get hurt. So I'm going to look at it that way. I want him to get healthy and to be healthy. And to do that, he needs to take 1 more week off. And then Jerick McKinnon will be a great play. So that's how I'm looking at it. On the outside here, Brandon Ayuk, I guess he could be a play, right? I think you got to be a little bit desperate and looking for a big game, kind of chasing the points here, with playing Ayuk. But at the same time, if they don't have Deebo Samuel, he becomes a little bit more attractive to me. He's been getting a couple of carries or so most weeks. I'd be okay with playing Ayuk in this game, especially if Samuel's out. Now, if Deebo Samuel is in, I probably wouldn't play either one of them. I'm not sure who's going to get the work. George Kittle, you're playing him. It's absolutely not a question. Guy was a fucking boss last week. Throwing people, every single catch. It's like, how many guys got to have broken tackles on every catch with this guy? He's going to Hulk out.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
And it's like that on the fucking Hulk on every play. Just running over people. So, I love it. Get Kittle in your lineup. He's a badass. I didn't think he was going to be as good this year. Not that I didn't think he was that good. I just, it's hard to think you're going to be that good, years in a row. And, shit. prove me wrong, man. Kittle is absolutely worth it, dude. Guy's going to be a high end, or excuse me, high end. He's going to be in the beginning of the second round next year, or at the end of the first round in PPR picks, PPR drafts. Holy shit! Why can't I speak right now? Blah, 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 blah. All right, shake it out. A little spittle. We're good. All right, let's get the hands up. All right, let's move on to our next game here. Shake it out. You know what it is? I played like 34 holes of golf yesterday, and I think I'm just a little bit fried. My brain's fried from playing that much golf, from looking for my ball for that long. All right, Indianapolis Colts are traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Not a far trip there. And this over/under is 48. Seems a little high for me for two teams that I think are really going to run the ball, focus on running the ball and playing defense here. I would go with the under here, and I'm going to go with, I'm going to shy away from a number of the players on these teams. All right. Phillip Rivers is not on my radar for streaming for this week. I know it seems like a good matchup, a decent matchup. I just, the connection with the receivers hasn't been there, and I just don't think they're going to need to score that many points. They're going to want this to be like a 21-19, kind of a game, honestly. So, Jonathan Taylor should be in your lineup. He's still getting enough work. He hasn't looked great. You were hoping for more, but, go ahead and have him out there. And then, it's really been crazy because, Rivers, who was the check down fucking king, his whole career, right, in San Diego and then LA, really hasn't been checking down all that much. After the first week, he did a ton, and then he really hasn't done it that much. So Nyheim Hines is a pretty risky flex option for you this week, and I don't know if I want to play Hines, on the off chance that the targets will be there, because we pretty much know that the carries aren't. So you have to have 5-6 receptions and really hope he makes something happen with at least one of them for it to be a good week. So, for me, Hines is a little bit more of a desperation PPR play, PPR only play, and I'd steer away from him. T.Y. Hilton, I'm off of right now. Got to see him do something in his offense, before he's a starter. And so that makes you think, can Zach Pascal be played? I don't know if Zach Pascal can be played. I mean, see, did Michael Pittman do anything last week? Was he even in? I know he was hurt. I don't know if he got anything done in the game last week. Let's look. Because, if Pittman's in too, then that makes Pascal just a little less. So he didn't play last week. Is he on the injury report? Sorry, we're doing this together. Let's look. Not on the injury report. So I'm thinking Pittman's back in, and I don't want to pick which one of these receivers I'm playing. So I'm just all for the Colts this week. That's just it. Same thing at tight end. Jack Doyle is back. Mo Alley Cox has been getting in the end zone, basically every week, if not every week, and has looked good. But at this point, with Doyle back, I think Mo Alley Cox is absolutely a touchdown-dependent, option. Where do I find him? Is it 1L? Yeah, it's like Mo Alley Cox. Mo Alley Cox. I think that's what it's not. Mo Alley. Alley would be 2 L's, right? All right. What did you see? Last week we had 2 targets. He caught 1 for a touchdown. So yeah, no, I'm off Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle. I'm not playing any fucking Colts this week. Sorry, no Colts. All right. And who are they going to play? The Browns. I am playing some Browns. Not Baker Mayfield though. Not the worst matchup for him. It's just the ceiling's low, and like I said, I think there's other better streamers out there that I'd go with over Baker Mayfield, including Daniel Jones, and Teddy Bridgewater, obviously, who I already mentioned. There's a couple of them, if not a couple more. Joe Burrow, I don't think he's streamable anymore. But let's see, in the backfield, starting Kareem Hunt, I don't think he's going to get like some crazy workload. I do think it's going to be more of a 60-40 split between him and Dearness Johnson, and there's going to be a sprinkling of, I think, Dontrell Hilliard, maybe stuffed in there, maybe a handful of touches. But Kareem Hunt is an absolute must-play. He should be a high floor running back 2 with running back 1 potential, absolutely. And then on the outside here, it's hard to play Landry or Hooper or any of these guys. I mean, you got to play OBJ. it's, yeah, I understand the points last week came from gimmicky things, right? From runs, from wide receiver passes. But, what I look at is an offense that says, hey, let's get the ball to our best fucking playmaker, right? I mean, you saw it. He can make plays happen. He outruns the defense, whether he's behind him or in front of him, right? On that run, he had to make, a whole bunch of defenders miss on that sideline. And it happened real fucking fast. He hit that hole and he was gone. So, now that Nick Chubb is gone, I do think they may have to lean on OBJ a little bit more. So you might see some targets go up. You might just see other opportunities go up for OBJ. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not playing Landry right now. He's just not involved enough. Same with Austin Hooper. They got to be desperate to play Hooper. He can get into the end zone, of course, but another thing I wouldn't be, betting on is Austin Hooper getting into the end zone here. So what's his stat line been like? It's been worth a shit. Hey, his best game. Best game by far. 5 catches, 7 targets, 34 yards, and a touchdown. But that was against Dallas in a game where there was 87 total points scored. Every other game he's been very mediocre. That was his first touchdown, his first game with more than 3 catches, his first game with more than 25 yards, and it was 34 yards. So, I'm out. Out on Hoop. Sorry, bro. All right, keep it rolling here. Oh, man. You know what, this game, I'm a little worried. I'm excited and worried. I'm excited in that, watching fucking Maury Povich, weird, sick way, right? The New York Giants going to play the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. And I don't know what kind of fucking train wreck we're going to see, honestly, here. So Daniel Jones hasn't looked great. People were expecting him to take a little step forward. We know that the matchups for him have been really tough to start the season, right? He had Pittsburgh and Chicago and San Fran, whoever else he had, it's been tough going for him so far, and it showed. He has only had 1 game with 2 touchdowns, and that was in week 1 against Pittsburgh. Hasn't thrown a touchdown since. So, I mean, that's brutal. I know I mentioned him as a top, streamer, not the top streamer, but one of the top streamers, and I think that's true. I got to be honest with you, Dallas has been so bad against the pass and gives up so many points that it's hard to just assume that Daniel Jones can't do that and that it's not going to happen again. So I'm assuming Giants are going to suck ass once again on the road this week, and they're going to need points. They're going to be flinging the ball all over the place. And so because of that, I think you're going to be able to play a number of your Giants, on a team that's, awful. I get it. But Devontae Freeman, I think, is a decent play this week because of the passing down work. I'll be very surprised if he's not in the 5+ reception, category, not targets, receptions. And that's going to, bump his value up, absolutely. So I think that he's actually going to be a sneaky play this week. If he's cheap enough, I haven't checked yet, but I'll probably have him in some DFS lineups. I know it's fucking ugly. I mean, but here's what it's 2020. We're playing Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell. And on the outside, yeah, I think you can play, Darius Slayton. I think you can play Golden Tate. Honestly, why not? And Evan Ingram also. I know you're probably sick of riding the Evan Ingram wave around, but the fact is, you signed up for it. This is your fucking fault. Nobody did that. No one else drafted Evan Ingram for you, right? You had to draft him like in the 7th or 8th round, maybe even earlier than that. So the point is, you did that, and you may have a better option. I'd rather in the same game, I'd rather play Dalton Schultz than Evan Ingram. But if you have Evan Ingram, you're probably going to play him in a game where I expect them to need points. He will have targets. The question is, will he catch them? Will they find a connection? And can he make a big play? I'm not going to bet on it. So you can save Evan Ingram. I'm done with that. I know you can't be jaded as a fantasy guy. You can't be like, oh, well, I'll never, ever have this guy again. He screwed me that one time in the playoffs, but you want to. It's like, fuck that guy. As a fantasy football player, I want to make that note for all of the, professional athletes that, listen to and watch the show, that it's never anything against you unless I say it's personal and that's some other shit. But, on the sports field, in fantasy, I only ever think of it in those terms. So if I call you a fucking bum, it's only about your fantasy performance. That's all. In no other way would I talk about you in that way. I just want everyone to know that, just to make it clear, in case I'm being abrasive for any of you. All right. Let's go over to Dallas, where you're starting all your fucking Cowboys, right? Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Mari Cooper, the number one wide receiver in PPR formats right now. CeeDee Lamb, the best rookie wide receiver, I think, in the eye test right now. He looks like an absolute beast. You know, you're probably going to take your chances on Michael Gallup. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on Michael Gallup because if you watched the preseason shows, you know he was like my dude, man. I'm all over Michael Gallup this year. I had him as a top 10 PPR wide receiver, and right now he's in the low 30s. And part of it's because I didn't know CeeDee Lamb was this freaking good, man. I mean, he looks absolutely incredible. I really think that, shit, if the Cowboys didn't pay Amari Cooper, they could probably let him go next year and let CeeDee Lamb take over as the number one. I really do think he's that good. And that's absolutely holding Michael Gallup back a little bit. It's also the Cowboys' offensive line. Gallup's essentially only being used in the deep routes right now because Cooper and Lamb are running everything underneath, and he doesn't have the time to wait for those plays. He doesn't have 4 seconds to wait for Gallup to get 30 yards down the field and then chuck it out there. So I think that's a big part of what you're seeing there. And Gallup, I'm sweating it because I got shares of Gallup, and I have, I have this share of Gallup, right? I put, some of my reputation on the line, my sterling reputation and street cred for fantasy football accuracy is now on the line with Michael fucking Gallup. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we all get them some wrong and some right? I mean, I'm killing it on some of them. I mean, Tyler Lockett's in the top 5. I got some other picks that are shaping up to be really good right now, but it's a long season. But if you're a Michael Gallup owner, they're at home against the Giants who don't get a great pass rush, I think you give Gallup one more shot here. And then you also play Dalton Schultz. He's shown he's got the goods, the opportunities there, and the 3-4 catches a week with a chance to be in the end zone in any given game is fine. He's not going to be a monster volume kind of a guy, but he's a very, very safe, looks like a very, very high floor tight end candidate. I think he's the kind of guy you can just plan on having in your lineup all year at this point, honestly. So in one league, I drafted Hayden Hurst, and I now have Dalton Schultz in the starting lineup in that league. And I'm very much considering dumping Hayden Hurst. The only reason I haven't, I think, is because of, again, I had him as a preseason ranked very high tight end. I drank the Kool-Aid. I fucking hook, line, and sinkered that shit and right now it hasn't been there, right? Their offense isn't great, and he hasn't gotten the work. He's been scoring, though. So he's been good, you know what I mean? He's been good. But he hasn't been great. There's just not enough work right now for him to be that good. And so I'm definitely not playing him over Dalton Schultz, right? Let's see. Dalton Schultz is the number 6 tight end on the year and didn't really play the first week because Jarwin was in there. And Hayden Hurst is the number 15 with 2 touchdowns. Yeah. I think I might go ahead and drop Hayden Hurst if I also have Dalton Schultz, which I do. All right, let's roll to the night games here. So we got four more games, night games, man. I'm not used to that. So Vikings and Seahawks in Seattle. You have Minnesota finally got off the schneid last week, got their first win, 1-3, and traveling to Seattle against the undefeated Seahawks. This is going to be a tall order for them to win in Seattle. They're going to need to run all over Seattle, which they can with their running game and Dalvin Cook. They've been great so far. I'm not necessarily looking at Kirk Cousins this week, as like a must start, but he's definitely up there. And for me, he's like right behind Teddy Bridgewater and probably Daniel Jones, for a streaming quarterback, maybe my number 3 streamer on the week. But the way he's connecting with his new weapons, namely Justin Jefferson, certainly gives me optimism for the future of this season. You don't have to play Kirk Cousins, but I'd be willing to hear who you want to play him over because it could be possible. Dalvin Cook in your lineup, fucking beast mode. He's killing it right now. He's getting the volume, he's getting the touchdowns. don't overthink that. And then Adam Thielen, he's in your lineup. The question is Justin Jefferson. And yeah, at this point, it's hard to say, who you'd have as your wide receiver 3 or your flex that you're going to feel good about playing over Justin Jefferson. The last couple weeks have been great. He had the first breakout week, but then he also had a very good week last week. Let's see what the numbers were. And where you at? 4 or 5 for 103 yards. So, didn't get to the end zone, but 25.8 yards per reception. He's making big plays. And listen, so 4 receptions for 103. It's an average of 25.8. You might be like, oh man, but did he catch a 70-yard pass? No. His long was 29. So it's like every pass he caught was a long pass. And he caught 4 of his 5 targets. So it's not like they're, going for him, 9 times and he's catching 4 of them for 103. So I just love the way the connection looks. Now, I was big on Jefferson early, in the offseason. I didn't see any reason why he shouldn't, kind of just move into the number 2 role here. All they had was B.C. Johnson, and they were never really that high on him. He never really had a chance to break the top 2 for this team. So, I don't know. I'm glad it happened sooner than later. I should have had more shares of Jefferson, but I think you should have him in your game, in your lineup. And then skip the tight ends. I don't know what the hell's going on there with Rudolph and Irv Smith. Both touchdown dependent, not really getting volume that you might need out of your tight ends. So, if you're looking to play a touchdown dependent tight end this week, man, I guess you could do worse, but neither one of these guys are worth playing in my book. So, skipping it. All right, let's go over to Seattle here. So, you know that you're playing basically all your Seahawks, right? There shouldn't be any doubt about that. Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. These are all must-start options. It's not even close. Must start, got to be in your lineup. No question. We know all that. Now, let's look at some of these other guys here because of the possible further postponements or last-minute cancellations, maybe, of this New England game, or even more likely the Tennessee and Buffalo game. You want to have some other options, ready to go on the Seattle teams, right? So, let's see here. For Seattle here, that means you can look at Freddie Swain, and I don't know why the other guy's just not coming into my freaking head right now. I just cannot do it. I can't get his name. Let's see here. I'll figure it out. I swear I will. There's another receiver on Seattle. He caught an amazing touchdown the other day, and it was beautiful. And I want to know who it is. Sorry, y'all. You're just gonna deal with it, man. So yeah, let's just talk about that. So you can look at 2 of these wide receivers in order to have a backup for any of your wide receivers or flex guys that you don't have ready to go. David Moore, damn. I couldn't remember David fucking Moore. Well, so those are the 2 guys, David Moore and Freddie Swain. You can have either one of these guys stashed on your bench if you have room and if you need it. To have someone ready to go if you need a last-minute swap. So those are the 2 guys I'd have in this game. Tight end, Greg Olsen. You can play Greg Olsen. He hasn't been bad at all. Greg Olsen's been pretty good, to be honest with you. Does he pop in here? I don't know. Where you at, Greg Olsen? Number 20 tight end. Not terrible. He's serviceable. I guess you could play him. I'd rather not. I'd rather not play Greg Olsen if I didn't have to. But, Seahawks are going to score some points. Over-under is 57. Seahawks are giving 7. So, expectation by Vegas is a pretty good amount of points scored here. So, get your Seahawks in the lineup. And you can have some of these guys on your bench, like I said, as a last-minute switch-off from either Stephon Diggs or, John Brown, A.J. Brown, any of these guys. You can switch off from these guys. So, all right. Last 3 games go to Monday night. Denver Broncos at the New England Patriots. We're not expecting Drew Lock back this week necessarily. It's possible that he'll be playing, but I'm really not sure. Either way, I'm not going to be playing any Denver, quarterbacks at New England, and I'm probably not going to be playing any Denver pass-catching options at New England, considering the fact that Noah Fant didn't practice again. I don't think he's going to be playing on Sunday. KJ Hamler is out. So really, you're looking at Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick. That's pretty much it. And I think New England's going to be able to shut them down. In the backfield here, you have the return of Philip Lindsay, it seems like. And with the return of Philip Lindsay, I don't know that I want to necessarily play Melvin Gordon. Again, against a really strong defense. It's all about what your options are, what your bench looks like. But to be honest with you, if I didn't have to, I would not have a single Denver Bronco in my lineup this week. And if I had to have one, it would definitely be Tim Patrick, and then number 2 would be Melvin Gordon. Those would be the 2 guys I'd want in my lineup. You know, if I was looking at Broncos, or if I had them on my bench, on my squad. Let's go over to New England here now. I don't think Cam is going to play. I mean, they're talking about the fact that it's possible. He's been quarantine separated. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's not going to play. And so we're going to have Jarrett Stidham as a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. He didn't look that awful when he came in relief of Brian Hoyer, but didn't look like someone I wanted to go ahead and play a lot of my passing options with. So with the Patriots this week, I think you can play Damian Harris and James White. I think Damian Harris will have enough work on the ground. I think James White will catch enough passes from a young quarterback that's going to need to get the ball out of his hands to be worth playing. I think they both have very limited ceilings, and they both have pretty low floors in this game, in my opinion. But I do think you can play both of them. I have them both ranked in the very low 20s in my running backs. Almost near running back 30, but in the 20s, so as RB3s. That being said, you could play them. On the outside, Julian Edelman, looks like he's questionable, but I think he's going to play, and that makes me a little bit more hesitant to start him. I want to see what the results, what the reports say Sunday morning, but obviously it's not going to be that much different at this point. So, Edelman I'd be off of. I would want to get N'Keal Harry in there. They're using N'Keal Harry just a lot more in the offense. It's a big body. Get him down near the red zone, and there's no reason not to give this guy a shot. Every time you get down there, throw one up there. See if you can get it. If you can't, you run the ball. But let's see, targets 6-12, 4 and 6. Got into the end zone for his first touchdown last week. Sometimes you get a little taste of blood and you want more. So maybe he got in the end zone and he tasted that shit and he wants more. And that's what I'm going to think. So I think N'Keal Harry is somebody you can get in your lineup this week. With Edelman expected to be either out or, more of a limited, maybe decoy, I'd be all right with that. So, yeah. All right. Last couple of games here. We got the Los Angeles Chargers on the late Monday night game, traveling to New Orleans, going to take on the Saints. All right. So, with the Chargers, I think you can absolutely play Justin Herbert. In fact, I am playing Justin Herbert in one of my leagues. And I know it's not considered the best matchup, but he's looked really good. He's airing the ball out there. They just lost Austin Eckler, so I do think the running game is going to be, a little bit lacking. And I think they're going to need to throw the ball a little bit. So not looking for a crush game, but I do think 250 and 2 out of Herbert is absolutely possible, and I'll take it in a streaming capacity. In the backfield, it's a little bit more troublesome. Who do you play? I understand that, you might be in a pinch, but Josh Kelly hasn't really looked that good since week 2. He had that one good performance. He's been losing fumbles. He just hasn't looked that good. Justin Jackson, comes off the injury report early in the season, is getting a little bit more involved. I think Justin Jackson's going to have more touches than people realize. And I think that, they're both on the lower end of flex plays. They really are. I think that they're both going to be pretty equal in touches and opportunities. It's going to be who gets into the end zone, if anybody, and who gets the receptions, if anybody. So I'm not willing to bet on it right now. I am willing to bet that Keenan Allen's going to have a shitload more targets, just like he has basically every damn week. Herbert is spamming those targets over to Keenan Allen, and that's totally fine. Get the ball to your best guy. I mean, I'm always about that. As long as the defense isn't just keying in on it, then do it. And once they start keying in on it, that's when you move the ball around and you make them adjust, right? So I love the fact they're throwing the ball to Keenan Allen so much. Keep Keenan Allen rocking in your lineup. Mike Williams, I'm not sure if he's going to play. He's been on the injury report. Either way, frankly, I don't think I want to play Mike Williams right now. He just hasn't done a whole lot. He was limited on Friday. So I don't like that at all. And then Hunter Henry, absolutely in your lineup. Hunter Henry should be your starting tight end unless you have one of the other top 5, tight ends, which would be weird. Why'd you do that? What are you thinking? All right, New Orleans. Yeah, you played Drew Brees. Looking pretty good lately. Should get Michael Thomas. Or are they saying Michael Thomas is out? Wait. What they be saying here? Michael Thomas, limited on Friday. You know he wants to play. He's pissed off. But the fact is, they do have their bye week next week, and it makes no sense to play him. I still think you can absolutely play Drew Brees even without Michael Thomas coming back. I think he has just enough weapons and enough savvy to get in the end zone a couple of times at least, and maybe more. The Chargers' defense is not great. They looked like they were going to be great. They had a bunch of injuries, and now they're not great. That is what it is. So, it sucks. You're playing Kamara. That's no question. Latavius Murray, hey, that's a low floor, high ceiling player right there. He can be in the end zone twice. He could only have 30 yards, and that's it. So, I don't know. I don't like those plays. Latavius Murray is the kind of guy that, you chase the points and you just shit the next week. Then you bench him and he scores again. So, I'm not sure what to do with him. I don't have any shares, but I'm going to tell you to sit Latavius Murray this week. There you go. As far as the receivers go, I don't know if it's going to be more of an Emmanuel Sanders or a Traquan Smith week. It seems like Smith is more the red zone option. Emmanuel Sanders might get more targets, between the 20s and inside the hashtags. But I think if I had to play one, I would play Emmanuel Sanders in PPR, and I would play Traquan Smith in standard for that touchdown upside and potential, and that would be it. And of course, Jared Cook is still questionable. I was thinking Adam Troutman could be a pretty sneaky play last week. I liked that play, and he didn't do shit. Didn't have a target on the thing. Wasn't out there, so I'm off of that. If Jared Cook is out, I'm not playing any Saints tight ends. That was my bad. My bad, yo. All right. And then our last game, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. You know me, I'm a Buffalo guy. You see the Jim Kelly jersey. So to get a nice game, especially because we're going to lose their primetime game next week. They're going to play the Chiefs on Thursday, which is a much better primetime game. So they're going to lose that one. It's going to get moved back to Sunday at least. And so at least they're going to get this primetime game. They travel to Tennessee, take on the Tennessee COVIDs. Oh, no, I mean the Tennessee fuckheads. No, sorry. The Tennessee Titans. Yeah, the Tennessee Titans, way to go. Try to fuck it up for everybody. Really, though. Not everything has come out yet, but yeah, apparently they were sent a memo or whatever by the NFL not to have any more, meetings of more than whatever people, and like the next morning had a giant practice. So either way, it looks like 2 days in a row with no new positives for Tennessee, so that's good. Looks like this game could get played on Tuesday night. Now, the game gets played, who are we going to play? Yeah, you're playing Josh Allen. He's been on fire. Get him in your lineup. Devin Singletary, I think, is a good play. Whether or not Zach Moss comes back, I think you want to have Devin Singletary in your lineup. I think that he's going to get the bulk of the work. And, I'm fine with it. It's all about the expectations. If Zach Moss is back and sharing work, then maybe you just lower your expectations slightly for Devin Singletary, but not that much. Stephon Diggs absolutely is in your lineup. He's been killing it. And John Brown, unfortunately, has been, nursing a calf injury. And, he's been struggling through it. And they say he's questionable. I don't think he's going to play. So whether or not he plays, I think Beasley is a good wide receiver 3 or flex play this week. I do think Beasley will be involved enough, whether or not Brown, plays as a decoy or whatever, to be worth using. So I'm all about using Beasley here, and that's it. No tight ends or anything like that. Dawson Knox, these guys are all touchdown dependent week to week. You don't know what's going to happen. All right, for Tennessee, feels it's been a while since I've talked about Tennessee in fantasy terms, and Tannehill at home against a tough Buffalo team. Still don't know if they're going to have A.J. Brown. I mean, that's crazy. This dude's been out, all year with this injury now, basically. He's a limited participant with his knee injury. I don't know. But Tannehill, you can do better. He's not near my top streamers. I would take a bunch of the other guys I already talked about over him. So, yeah. And then, Derrick Henry, he's in your lineup. A.J. Brown, questionable again, like I said, with the knee. Whether or not, they say he's active, I won't have A.J. Brown in my lineup this week. You've been dealing without him for weeks already, and just deal without him for one more week because you don't want to get that goose egg on that Tuesday night game where you're like, all I need is 7.4 points. Come on, man. And you're like, the first quarter go by, you're like, oh, man, he didn't get targeted, man, but he's in the game. He's going to get some targets, and he's in the game. It's A.J. Brown. And that's the third quarter. You're like, holy shit. Kidding right now? Come on. All right, this is the drive. Let's get a couple passes to A.J. Brown. And then the fourth quarter ends, and you don't have a single fucking catch.
Inconceivable!
Yeah. No, it's brutal. I mean, it happens. And we don't want that to happen to you. So, I probably wouldn't be playing really almost anybody on the wideouts. Corey Davis is out. A.J. Brown is injured. Adam Humphries could be a sneaky play in PPR as a slot guy. But Jonnu Smith is going to be your absolute smash play. He's the guy you think is going to benefit the most from the uptick in targets from the vacancies left on the outside there. And, of course, there's going to be some other warm bodies, but they're not going to be anywhere near as good. And I think you're going to get 10-plus targets for Mr. Jonnu Smith this week. So that's another bold prediction. Is that bold? 10-plus targets? Is that bold enough? I think it is. All right. That was the last game here, y'all. So that's the Week 5 preview. Both parts are up, ready to go. Check it out. Get your starts and sits for the weekend and for the early part of the week. It's like a 8-day NFL week now. I love it. So, just get ready to get your lineups. Make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. There'll be people doing live streams and podcasts Sunday morning, but you'll get your info from somewhere. But just get the latest information. Make sure you have benchable players, that you can play late on, Sunday, late on Monday, whatever happens with those other games. So that is going to do it for the GOAT. That's it. So Week 5. Have a great week tomorrow. What the fuck? Have a great week in your fantasy leagues. Get a win this week. For those of you that are 0-4, you have to have it. If you're 1-3, you need it. If you're 2-2, you want it. If you're 3-1, you're cool. You're cool to get that win. And if you're 4-0, you're cruising, baby. You're happy either way. No matter who you are, you need a win this week, right? Get all those wins, baby. Every fucking one of them. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. All that good stuff. Also find us on anywhere you listen to podcasts. All the major sites, a whole bunch of the minor ones. Not hard to find it. The GOAT Fantasy Football Podcast. Again, I'm Jim Neander. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. We will see you with our Week 5 reaction show on Monday. See you then.